As you know, for those of you that want the simultaneous translation, the headsets are at the back. And so let's begin. My name is Guy Tsipe. I'm the product manager for the mobile applications at MyHeritage, specifically the iOS and Android applications. And today we'll talk about some of the more mobile-focused, more exclusive features in the app. So these are some of the topics we'll address. First of all, we need to discuss the question of why even use a mobile device for genealogy. I mean, genealogy existed way before mobile phones, let alone smartphones. So that is a question we should address. Later, we will do a quick overview of the app, so those of you who are less familiar will kind of touch base. And after that, we'll focus on some of the more exclusive, some of the more mobile optimized features that the app has to offer. And finally, I'll feature some of the things we're working on right now that we're very excited about. And I hope at the end of the session, I'll convince those of you that don't have the app to download and start using it. So let's begin. Currently, MyHeritage is supported on several platforms. Of course, most of you are familiar with the website, available on all the browsers. Additionally, we have the Family Tree Builder, the desktop application for Windows and Mac. And finally, the baby of the bunch are the mobile apps for iOS and Android. Now, I call the mobile apps the baby of the bunch because they are the youngest. This generation of the app came out 3.5 years ago. And basically, we needed to make up time for all the features that were already existing on the web and on the desktop application. So with that in mind, we had two goals when creating the app. First of all, we wanted to give the most comprehensive and complete MyHeritage experience optimized on your mobile device, which is no easy task. And secondly, your mobile device has a lot of capabilities that the computer or the desktop does not have. And we wanted to use those abilities to, to expand the types of information and the features that you can gain on MyHeritage. So before we get into the app, let's just discuss mobile real quick and see what mobile is today, mobile usage. So mobile has exponentially grown from year to year since the beginning of this century. Today, there are over 3.5 billion unique mobile users, internet users. People spend an average 69% of their media time, their screen time, on their smartphones or tablets. And finally, mobile devices drive 80% of global internet usage out of all internet usage. But more importantly, this is obviously information on a grand scale, but personally, maybe you share this with me, but throughout the day, I have a lot of what I call found time. Now, by found time, I mean all those periods of time in the day where you find yourself just waiting, maybe on transportation at the doctor's office, where you can either stare at the wall and sink in deep thought, or you can actually complete your tasks and accomplish some things you wanted to get done. And that's also part of the focus when we created the app. Now, why use the mobile app for genealogy? So the obvious reasons, the app is always with you. Most of us, myself included, don't leave the house for long periods of time without our device. In terms of classic genealogy, it reduces the need to carry around a lot of bulky folders and a lot of materials. The capacity and storage is practically limitless, so you don't need to worry about scale. It's very easy to upload and digitize information and images. It syncs across all your devices, so if you change something on the website, it will reflect in the app and vice versa. And it's great for sharing with other family members or friends. I think the last one is very interesting if you try and get your, let's say, children and grandchildren involved, and you want to share some of the information with them. So I want to tell you a quick anecdote about myself. On the way to this conference, we were looking for flights And one of the flights we saw, there were no direct flights, but one of the flights had Riga, Latvia as a connection. Now, immediately a light bulb kind of went on in my head, and me and my colleague Ron Sneer, who did the DNA talks, booked 2 nights in Riga. Now, apart from Riga being a really beautiful city, much more than we expected, I was actually born in Riga, and Riga, Latvia, and most of my family is from there. And we moved to Israel at the age of 4. In the case of Ran, his father was born there. So we thought, what could be more appropriate than actually taking a little family history research trip before going to the MyHeritage Live conference. So after making some phone calls and sending some emails, I got in touch with some people. And after kind of walking around Riga for a couple of days, this is what I came away with. I added a whole branch to my tree. I took several pictures of gravestone. This one is my grandfather's. I added a historical record. And finally, I got a selfie in front of my family's house, which I was born in. And I accomplished all of this using the mobile app. And now I'll show you how. So just a quick overview of the app so we kind of get to know one another. The app can be downloaded from the iOS App Store and Google Play. Now, for the sake of this presentation, I'm going to show you all the features on the iPhone screen, but I promise you Android users that it looks exactly the same on Android, so please don't be mad at me. And the same goes for iPads and tablets. So now that we have the app on our device, we see this is the home screen, complete with shortcuts to the main sections and a main menu that can be accessed by the top left button. We have the family tree, of course, the most important part. And it's complete with several views. So we can see our family tree in a family view or maybe in a list. We have the tree profile. And to add information to each profile in the tree, we can tap on the plus button and see all the options. We have the discoveries, similar to what we have on the website, through the main menu or through a specific person in the tree. We have record matches and historical records to search. And of course, we have all the DNA information, such as ethnicities, matches, and a page to manage your kits. So that was a quick intro to the app, just to focus on the main sections. But now let's talk about some of the more exciting features that are available on the app. I wouldn't say only, but we made a lot of effort to give you a good user experience on the app in those specific areas. So the first one I want to show has everything to do with photos. Now, this was pretty obvious to us that since you're using your mobile device, we should make adding, editing, and sharing photos as easy as possible, since your mobile device probably replaced or somewhat replaced your digital camera and your photo albums, and most of your photos are accessible from your device. So photos can be accessed through several places, but the main places are either a tree profile of a specific person or the photo albums. Once we found the photo that we're interested in, we tap on it to see the photo in the full screen, and we can tap again to see additional information. So here we see a few options at the top, name tags, and the photo details at the bottom. So let's go ahead and tap on Joseph Patrick on the name tag. And so once we do so, we see that his face is highlighted on the screen, and there's a nice menu from the bottom. Now this is his menu, Joseph's menu, and we put there a few very useful options. The first one is to view his profile in the tree. The second one is to edit the actual tag. Say if we want to move it around in the photo, or maybe it's the wrong person and we want to change it, we'll do that. And finally, we can set this picture, this rectangle, as the person's profile photo in the tree, which is very useful in case he doesn't have a photo in the tree, or in case here we have a better photo. Now, of course, we have a share mechanism. Photos are meant to be shared, of course. We can do it through all our messaging apps, social media, or directly via email. And lastly, in the menu, we see some additional options, such as tag the photo, edit photo details, save it to the device, or delete. Now, in our case, I see that we have the title Kennedy Men and the year the picture was captured, but we don't have the place. So let's go ahead and edit the photo info. And I'll submit the place, in this case, Brookline, and save it. And at the end, we get a much more informative photo. Now, when you go through all of your photo album and add information to all your photos, you just get a much richer album, which you'll enjoy going through later and sharing. So we showed how to manage photos, but let's see how to add. So you can do so from the photo album or the profile. Just tap on the plus button and select Add Photo. You'll see your camera roll, and you also have the option to capture a photo. Select the photo or photos you want to upload and tap Save. Next. And when it's uploaded, you'll see a little message at the bottom saying it was successfully uploaded. Now, next to it, you'll get a hint or instruction to tag the photo, which of course we want to do. Once we tap that, we'll enter what we call tag mode. Now you can see there's dashed lines around the faces in the photo, and there's a little tag that says, who is this? So we want to start tagging the people. In this case, we'll tap on who is this, and we'll see that the tag focuses on the person we tapped on. Now the who is this appears at the top, so we'll tap on that, find the person we want to tag, and tap on that person. So now we see in the view, we see JFK's name, but we're still not happy with the tag. We see that his face isn't in the center. We want to play around with it and move it a bit. So we can drag the tag to center it. And once we're happy with the result, we'll save it. And we, of course, will continue to do so for all of the people in the photo once we've covered everything. I recommend you to start playing with it. It's really fun, and it's great to have in your family photos. Now, apart from the camera on your device, you obviously have a microphone as well. The microphone on the phone is meant, to make phone calls, the thing that people do other than texting. And we thought it would be interesting to utilize this capability to add stories to your family sites. Now, traditionally speaking, our users or members usually added photos and facts and information, but we thought adding an interview or a personal story could add a whole lot of depth to your family site. So we introduced the Recording Stories feature. You can find this feature in the tree profile. If the person in your tree already has a story, it will appear under the headphone symbol next to their profile photo. And if you want to add a new story, you press on the plus button and select Add Audio. Let's say the person in my tree already has a story. I can tap on the headphones and see the list of recordings. And if I want to change something and edit the recording itself, I can swipe left or press and hold on Android and have additional options. So obviously we don't want the recording to be named New Recording 2, and we'll change the name to whatever we see fitting. So to record a new story, we'll actually tap on the microphone or add audio from the profile, and we'll see the following view. It's pretty straightforward. There's only one button, and you can just tap on it, go ahead and record, and finally will be saved and uploaded to your family site. Now, we suggest breaking, if you have a long interview or a long story, we suggest breaking it into chapters, because of course this interview needs to be saved to your family site, and depending on your internet connection, it could take a while. So once you are happy with the result, you can see that it's saved to your family site. And finally, you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You can tap on the recording, and listen to it. Okay, so we're back to talking about the camera again. A feature that we added this year, which we're very excited about, is the ability to scan photos and documents. Now, of course, I think most of us have taken pictures of photos and documents, but we've taken it a step further and improved it. And I'll show you how. So this is just an example of my colleague doing it herself on her photo album. Now, to access the scanner, you can do it from several places. You can do it from the tree profile, the main menu, or a photo album. Once we enter the screen, we'll see the camera view, but we'll see orange shape to indicate that we recognize the frame of the photo or record. Once that appears, you can just click on Capture, and you'll get this view with the corners that are editable. Now, you don't have to, the really cool thing about this feature is that you don't have to take a picture right above the actual document. This is important because sometimes when we do so, we cast a shadow on the image, which will then appear on the uploaded image, or maybe will create some glare. So in the case of this feature, we can take a picture from an angle and have it not an exact rectangle, and the technology in the app will actually flatten the image and save it perfectly, which we'll see here. So to do so, we want to drag the corners to fit the image precisely. And for that, once you start dragging, you will have a magnifying glass, which you can see on the left image. In this case, I'm dragging the bottom left corner, and I see it in the magnifying glass with the crosshairs to have it as precise as possible. Once I'm happy with the result, I'll hit Next. I'll see that the image is flattened. I'll rotate it or add filters if I want. And I'll upload it to the family site. And with this, we can have perfectly preserved images and documents on our family site. Sorry? Yeah, of course. You can try as much as you want. Whatever your camera supports. So the better your device, the better the resolution. So next feature I want to preview. It's also not exactly exclusive, but we kind of made progress in it, made steps to make it much funner and a much more positive experience, is messaging. So you want to message people in MyHeritage in a few cases. Sometimes you have relatives in your family's site and you want to discuss the information, but more commonly, you want to contact a smart match, the site creator of a smart match, to validate the information you're getting or to compare notes. And we all want to make sure the information we add to the tree is correct, so we want to kind of investigate. And in the case of DNA matches, we'll contact the owner of the DNA kit to maybe find the closest, most recent relative. So to message, we can enter through the app menu again, or through the home screen shortcut, which appears as an envelope. Once we enter that, we'll see a list of our messaging threads, similar to an email. To see additional options, we can swipe left on iOS or press and hold on Android. And we'll see all the options you'd expect, such as a mark as read or unread, reply, archive, or delete. Additionally, there's a filter button which will let you see all the sent, archived, and unread messages if you want to focus on them. Once you see that there's a new message, you just tap on it, you see the thread, and hopefully you reply. We greatly encourage replying to messages since we all know what it's like to contact a person and not hearing back from them when we're researching something. Now, another point I want to make about this screen and all the other features I showed you today is recently, for the last, let's say, over a year, we noticed that a lot of our users, our members, like to use their app or their mobile phones in general with larger text settings. Now, this is a setting that exists on your device if you want to see all the different lines of text in a bigger font. So we made a concerted effort to actually support this functionality of your operating system. And now all the features we release support larger text. Now the last feature I want to preview here is the ability to invite. Now some of you may know that MyHeritage always supported inviting members to your family's site. Sometimes we want to invite younger generations to take part in our projects, or sometimes we want to invite a distant relative to build up their part of the tree. So up until now, this functionality, of course, existed by adding the email, but since we're using a mobile device, we thought we could make it easier. To do so, just go to the profile of the person you want to invite, tap on the little flying airplane with the invite underneath, and you'll see the following options. You'll see invite by email, which is what I spoke earlier of, but you'll also get the option to invite them by text message, which is very convenient on a mobile device if you have the person's contact information. Now, when you tap on invite by text message, you'll get your text message composer already pre-filled. All you need to do is enter the contact information and send it to them. So those were some of the features we wanted to highlight that we recently worked on. But I want to preview some things that we're very excited about that are now in the works. So you may have noticed earlier, I showed you in the tree, there's several views. So one of them is the Pedigree view, which is coming out to the mobile app in the next few days. That's a great way to kind of navigate your ancestral lines or the ancestral lines of someone you select. Another feature we're very excited about that I actually was asked about a lot in this conference was the ability to select what information you save from a match. This just comes up a ton, and it's super important to our members. But up until now, unfortunately, we only had the ability to save all or nothing from a smart match. So in the next few days or a week or so, we're going to release the ability to pick and choose what information you want to extract from a smart match and not rely that the person just has everything perfectly. And last but not least, we're very excited to be working on new app home screen. Now, as you've seen before, the home screen is a collection of shortcuts and an image. So we wanted to make it a bit more personalized and dynamic. So in the home screen we're working on, we'll actually feature the most recent and most relevant information for our members. And hopefully you won't need to dig in to find the information that you're interested in, and you'll have it all in the home screen, including smart matches, record matches, DNA matches, and so forth. And that's about it.